I have a little video that goes over how I use car cards and waybills here on my layout. The car cards and waybills that I use in particular are the ones that are sold by Micromark, and I think they're very popular. They come in pads. There's, I think, around 100 of the car cards and also 100 of the waybills or thereabouts in each of the pads. And they're fairly easy to work with. You can see the car card, basically one for each of the rail cars on your layout. You can write in what kind of car it is, say a box car or a hopper car, covered hopper, whatever is appropriate. If you like, you can put in the American Association of Railroads code for that type of car. And then, of course, the railroad's number and a description of the car. It could simply be the color, for example, whatever you find to be appropriate. Having made a card for each of your cars, you end up folding it up in this fashion and then taping it, and it forms a pocket there that ends up holding the waybill for that car. And of course, here are the waybills, and you can see they are two-sided. The first side that you see here is freight waybill number 1, and then when you go to the next operating session, you would use waybill number 2 by turning it over. And of course, on the waybill you can see things like who the car is consigned to, their address, what kind of routing. You may enter another railroad if you're switching to a different line, and then who's the shipper and their address, and then what is the car carrying, or of course it could be empty. I've got a couple of examples out here on the layout. We've got a couple of rail cars sitting at Transload Logistics, one on each track. We've got a little car card holder. At the time I went to this system, Micromark didn't have available any of their card holding boxes, so I ended up making some of my own, and they're quite simple, made from some scrap masonite. And I did add, there's like a little shelf at the front, so if you want to take cards out and have somewhere to have them sit, you have that available to you. What we can see right here from this car card for the covered hopper, it's a Wisconsin Central hopper, number 84680, and its color is white. And you'll see right now on the layout, all of the cars out on the layout are on freight waybill number 4. In my mind, I just think of it as they're all going to be used in the next operating session, which would be number 4. And you can see that this hopper is going to be consigned to Fertizona in Casa Grande, Arizona. It's routing, it's going out on the next local back to Stevens Yard, STE, and it's of course via the BNSF Railroad. The shipper is Transload Logistics, where the car is located here in Stevens, New Mexico, and the car is carrying fertilizer. Now here you can see at Transload Logistics, we've got the two cars located here right now, and there's the covered hopper, Wisconsin Central 84680, and you can also see right now covered hopper BNSF 430560 color brown, heading off to Farmland Industries in Lawrence, Kansas. And both of those cars are sitting here on the layout, so when the operator comes along with the local freight, he would see the two car cards in the card box and look at them and realize, well, I've got to pick up these two cars here at the location and take them back to Stevens Yard. Now, what I find to be very helpful about the car card waybill system using these particular 4-part waybills is it's very easy to reset for your next operating session. So in the upcoming session here, we're going to end up doing everything on waybill number 4. Once we are done with that session, the cards will be flipped over, and in this case, of course, we go on to the next waybill for this car, which is number 1. And at this point, of course, this car is now going to be sitting in the Stevens Yard, and it's going to go out on the next westbound through freight routed from Stevens to Albuquerque, and then of course it would be going on to Phoenix. And then once this car gets to Albuquerque, in the session after that, we switch over to waybill number 2, and things will change. Now at that point it's in the Albuquerque yard, and now it's going to be returning 2 operating sessions from now back to Transload Logistics, having shipped from Loop Transload in Phoenix, and now the car is empty. And of course we keep on going. The session after that would be waybill number 3, and at this point it's in the Stevens yard and it's heading to Transload Logistics, and it will end up going out on the next local delivery. So that's what I like about this system, is that you keep flipping through the waybills in numerical order, and you're constantly ready for the next operating session. In the yard right now we have rail cars on 4 different tracks. The track number 2 you see there has all of the cars that are going out on the next local to be delivered to local industries. Got a tank car for Habanero Gas, a center beam going to the team track, a covered hopper to Transload Logistics. We've got a hopper car that's heading to New Mexico Sand and Gravel, and a box car, the yellow rail box car, that's heading off to New Mexico Green Chili, and a gondola of BN that's heading to Sandia Scrap and Salvage. And I know all of those cars are setting on track number 2. You'll also see some conventions that I use in the yard. On track number 3 are cars outbound from the yard that are headed eastbound from Stevens off to La Junta, Colorado. And we've got 3 cars on that track that'll be picked up by the next through freight heading eastbound. And then on track 4 for westbounds, there again we've got 3 cars waiting to go west. They're going to Albuquerque and points further on. Now, just for a few moments, we'll take a look at what happens with the car cards at just one particular location. So our operator has a locomotive, and right now picked up that cut of cars on track number 2. And there you can see we've got 6 cars heading out to the local industries. So our local has arrived in the area of our industry, and we've got to drop off this covered hopper 430364. The brown one from BNSF is coming to Transload Logistics. I've got my convenient shelf there. I might just set my pile of cards there from my local train to rest and wait. And then we've got, of course, the 2 different hopper cars to pick up here. So our work at the Transload Logistics location is complete. We've picked up the 2 covered hopper cars that are outbound, and we've dropped off the BNSF hopper car that was inbound. And what we're going to do at this point on our operating session here is we'll usually go ahead and put that car card in the appropriate spot there. It's for track 1, but it's turned around backwards, so we know that our work with that car is done for today. And what we would do then at the end of the operating session, go around, take that car card and switch it from waybill 4. We'll turn it over and switch it to waybill number 1 for the next operating session. So the local turn is returned to the yard and brought back all of the cars they picked up on their shift, and they've currently got them setting on track 1. So we'll go ahead and put these car cards in the bin for track number 1. And of course, at the end of the session, the layout owner will come around and switch all of these over to waybill number 1, and they will be ready for the next operating session then. And as you could imagine, one of the very first activities in the next session will be to take the outbound cars on track number 1 and get them all switched onto the appropriate departure tracks for eastbound and westbound. And that would conclude our activity for that session. If you're interested, I do have 5 videos or so on operations on my model railroad, as well as a couple of layout tour type videos. Thank you very much for watching. If you are interested, I do have a few videos, I think 5 of them, on model railroad operations on my layout, and I hope you might have a chance to check those out, as well as a couple of different layout tour videos as well. Thank you very much for watching.